What is up, everybody? Republican here, and today I'm going to be taking the political compass test. It's a very popular test online, and you can take it, and it basically just you go through, you answer questions, and it tells you basically what your political stance is according to how you answer the questions. So, first question: if an economic globalism is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the transnational corporations? I disagree with that, because transnational corporations help humanity all in general by making products and jobs. I would always support my country. No, because what if your country's awful? No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I agree with that. I think that you should be proud of your country just for being a country. I think you should be proud of your country because it's a good country and you like you like how it's ran and you think the system's awesome. Your race has many superior qualities. Disagree. Your race is not a quality. It's just what you look like. Just because someone is black or white does not mean they're any more or any less than somebody. I don't think race has to do anything. It's all about your mindset, in my opinion. An enemy of my enemy is my friend. Alright, so I'm 50-50 on this, because enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, just because an enemy of your enemy does not mean that you're also your friend. They're more likely to help you if you had to fight this enemy. Think about like Spider-Man and Venom, for example, when they had to fight Carnage. Spider-Man and Venom are they're arch enemies, but when they had to fight Carnage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So that's how that works. So I would go with disagree, but I also agree with it too. It depends on the circumstances, in my opinion. Military action that defies national law is all yep, because international law helps the country, like helps other countries personally. It's more of like a selfish thing. I feel like it's more of a selfish thing. So if a military action defies that, then I strongly agree with it. There is now warring fusion of information and entertainment. I mean, I agree with it. It exists, but I mean, it's been around for longer than that. It's just that we don't really pay attention to it much. People are ultimately divided by their class and nationality. Nope, World War I defies that. Controlling inflammation is more important than controlling unemployment. You can't really control unemployment. I mean, the only way you control unemployment is if we were like a communist country, but we're not. The only way to really control unemployment is because you can't force people to work. You can't force people to work. So I'll agree with it. Because I would rather someone control inflammation than to control unemployment. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, um, they require regulation. Disagree. I think everybody should require regulation to help the environment. I think it's everybody thing, not just a corporation thing. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a functioning fundamental. Disagree. Freer market, yes, agree. Capitalism gang, am I right? The sad reflection of our society is that a basic drinking water, nah, disagree. Because why is it bad that it's branded? It's not. I don't think branded water is bad. I mean, I have water right in here on my desk right here. I don't think it's a bad idea that it's branded. If you don't want to drink branded water, you don't have to. If you don't want to, if you don't want branded consumer products, just be a socialist. You could go to Vermont and join a socialist community. That's the beautiful thing about capitalism, is that you could be a socialist or a capitalist, because in a capitalist society, you can do whatever you want. Land should not be commodity bought and sold. Wait, be a commodity to be bought. Okay, land should not be a commodity to be bought or sold. I disagree. Why? I think it should be. I mean, if you own property, like you own land, you own a house on a land, you should be able to do whatever you want with your land. If you cannot buy land, it's not your property, so you cannot do anything you want with it. If you cannot buy or sell land, it would go to the government, and that would be awful. Think about it like this, all right? Like if anybody has like a trampoline in their backyard or stuff like that, if you cannot buy land or sell it, you would not be able to put that trampoline on the backyard. Let's just go with that. Is it regrettable? Is it regrettable that many fortunes were made by people who are simply manipulate money and nothing to their society? Disagree. I don't understand why that's bad. I mean, it's their money; they can do what they want with it. Do I disagree? Do I agree with how they spend their money? No, but it's not my place to judge them what to do with their money. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Agree. The only social responsibility of a company is to deliver. Yeah, agree. Because if you are a shareholder or you are part owner of a company, you should get profit for it. But if you're too highly taxed, strongly agree. Okay, yeah. I strongly agree that they're way too highly taxed. I think everybody's too highly taxed, in my opinion. And it's weird because when you look at the tax rate, millionaires are taxed at like 30%, billionaires are taxed 22%, and normal, like middle class, are taxed like 20% also. I think everybody should be taxed 10%, in my opinion. So, yes, I think everybody is taxed too highly. And practically the rich pay for everything in our country. They pay for practically everything. Who's with the ability should pay taxes higher. Those with the ability to pay should have higher. Yeah, that's how that works. If you have more money, you get better health care. That's how that works. Now, I don't agree with people who are in Congress that get free good health care. I don't like that. That they don't have to pay for it and they get like unlimited sick days. I don't like that, but if you can pay for it, you should have the best health care. I don't care. If you have the money, you should be able to get what you want as long as it's not illegal. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. I disagree, but here's why. I don't think the government should penalize businesses. I think that the person who catches it should penalize the business. So let's think about, like, everybody probably has heard of this story where the guy at McDonald's, he ordered a hot coffee and the company did not write hot coffee, so when he got burned himself, he sued McDonald's. I don't. So why would you want the government to penalize when you can penalize them yourself and get money from it? I don't understand. So I'll disagree with it. A genuine free market requires restrictions on any ability to make monopolies. Um, I strongly disagree because monopolies are. You can't create a monopoly without government permission, to my knowledge. And also, monopolies are almost impossible to make, to start. Abortion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly agree. The Bible even says that if a woman's life is in danger, that it is okay to kill the baby. It's not good, but it is okay to because we as Christians, we believe that the life of a living human being is more important than the life of a potential human being. But if your life's not in danger and you're a woman, you should not get an abortion. All authority should be questioned. Disagree. I like to know. I'll hit agree because if a cop walks up to you and tells you to do something, and you ask them why, I don't think there's an issue with that. And I want to know what they're gonna do, so I'll hit agree. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Strongly disagree. When the Bible says that, it's not meant for. It's not literally. It's not meant that literally. In Hammurabi's code, it was meant literally, unless you were in higher or lesser social class. But in the Bible, when it says eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth in Exodus, it does not literally mean eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It's more of a if you damage someone, you pay for that stuff that you damage. Taxpayers should not expect to prop up any theaters, museums that cannot survive on disagree? Because I thought that museums were tax. I thought tax money did go to the museums. I could be wrong though. I disagree though. I think they should. I think that tax money should go to anything that's educational. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Agree. I think as long as a kid knows what he's doing, that's good enough. If the kid knows and he's a smart kid and he knows how to do his stuff and he can pass his tests, I have no problem with that. All people who have the rights have their rights, but it's better for all of us. What the heck is this question trying to ask? All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. Disagree. You're not being very inclusive if you're keeping to your own kind. Good parents sometimes speak to. Yep, strongly agree. You don't learn by being told not to touch the stove. You're taught by touching the hot stove. That's my ideology. It's natural for a kid to keep secrets from his parents. I mean, yes, it is natural, but it's not correct. Kids should not keep secrets from their parents. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. This is a weird question. Because marijuana for personal use, what do you mean by personal use? I'll hit agree. No, disagree. Because personal use, now if it's medical, yes, marijuana should be used. But if you use marijuana for any reason besides a medical disorder, I think you are using it for the wrong reason. But that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Prime functions of schooling should be equipped for the future. Yes, agree. People with serious inheritable diseases should not be allowed to disagree. I mean, why shouldn't they be able to? The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I disagree. It's a good thing for kids to learn to accept discipline, but it's not the most important thing to learn. Holy moly, my throat's dry. Hold on, give me a second, guys. Alright, I'm back. There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures. What? Disagree. And if you don't know why I disagree, you should ask the Taliban. And Taliban and all those other terrorist organizations. Those people who are able to work, refuse the opportunity, should not expect. Yes, I agree with that. The Bible says, if a man does not work, the man does not eat. When you are troubled, it is better to not think about it and keep your mind. Yes, I agree with that. Because pouting about a bad thing is not going to help the situation. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within a new country. I disagree. I disagree because, like, think about the Americans back in the 1600s when they first came to this country, into America. We were actually immigrants, but I disagree with what that said. What good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us? Um, I'll hit agree, but depends on which part you're talking about. Because there's things that are good for corporations that is also good for people. Think about like a corporation makes a cure for cancer, for example. That'd be good for all of us, plus the corporation. Because the corporation would make money off of it, and the people would cure cancer. So I agree, but also what's good for a corporation might not always be good for the people. I just put agree because it depends on what the example is. No broadcasting institute, no broadcasting institution, however independent is content, should receive public funding. I agree. I think that I think that broadcasting institution should be funded by people who donate or advertisers. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed. Is the name of counterterrorism? Disagree. Oh, in the name, I agree. Some big examples of one-party state. Um, is that it avoids all argument and delays the democratic political system. Yeah, I agree that that's an advantage. I don't like one-party states. I hate that. But I agree that it would avoid all arguments. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers will be worried. Disagree. The death penalty is an option for the most serious crimes. I mean, we don't really use the death penalty as as like a country. It's only used in Texas, and it's only used for the most serious of crimes. So but it should be an option. I agree with that. I feel like the death penalty should only be for people who are endangering other people's lives. In a civilized society, one must always have people above them to be obeyed, and people below to be commanded. I agree with that. Because if we're all on the same level, we all burst into chaos. Abstract art does not represent anything. Hold on. Abstract art that does not represent anything should not be considered art at all. I strongly agree. Because if you give me a blank sheet of paper and call that art, I'm going to call you dumb. Because that's not art. It's a blank sheet of paper. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Disagree. Yes, punishment's important, but the rehabilitation after the punishment is what helps. Because a criminal who is punished and put back on those streets are just going to do crimes again if they're not rehabilitated correctly. That's why I like Donald Trump's Second Chance Act that he signed. I think it's a great thing that he signed because it gives people who are in jail a second chance at life. It's a waste of time to try to rehabilitate. I agree with that. I think it's a waste of time, but you don't find out it was a waste of time until after you try to rehabilitate. Because I don't think you should just completely not rehabilitate someone. You should always try. But if they're unrehabilitatable, then yes, just it's a waste of time. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than a writer and artist. Agree. Because a business person usually helps get jobs, and they they usually pay people wage, and they help affect lives. And a manufacturer, especially manufacturing jobs hire thousands of people. So yeah, I would agree with that because I mean a writer can be good, but also writers can not be very important. A mother's duty may have Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be a homemaker. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that a mom should be a mom. That should be the number one priority. Same thing with dads. Dads should also be dads. If a mom's first priority is to do their job and the workforce and not be a parent, they're just not a great parent. Mul- Multinational companies are unethically exploiting and plant general sources developing countries. Uh, Disagree. Because you can't just take stuff from other countries. It's illegal. It's a trade. It's always a trade. Making peace with an establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Agree. 5 out of 6. We're almost done. Astrology expert? No, 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 no. You cannot be moral without being disagree. Because I know a lot of people with moral values that are great, but they're not like necessarily Christians. Charity is better than Social Security because it's helping general people with disadvantages. Um, I agree. Because people usually on Social Security. I'm in the middle of these two, alright? I'm in the middle of these two. I'll just hit disagree, alright? Because charity helps everybody, but Social Security helps people who are retired. And Social Security is what people work their whole lives to have. Once you get a job, part of your paycheck goes to Social Security every single month, every week. So I feel like Social Security is better, in my opinion. But like charity's better than welfare. Some people are naturally unlucky. Disagree. Now people can have inconvenient stuff happen to them, but does not make them naturally unlucky. Also, people sometimes make bad decisions, which help with that unluckiness. I don't call it luckiness. I call it fortunateness. It's fortunate and unfortunate. It's important that my child is. It's important that my child school enlists. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a child, but I agree that all children should learn religious values, especially if they're good religious values. All right, last one. Let's look at sex. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Agree. Same-sex marriage, same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from possibility of adopting a child. So, I agree. I feel like that families with a mom and a dad are better than families with just two dads or two moms because a woman can fulfill a mother role way better than a man can, and a man can fulfill a dad role way better than a woman can. But if the kid's choice is a heterosexual family and a homosexual family, the hetero would always be better, in my opinion. But doesn't mean that homosexual people cannot just adopt a kid. they should still have that right. Pornography, decepting consenting adults should be legal. I mean, it's not morally right, but there's nothing wrong with it being legal. Because think about it, if they just make it illegal, people are going to do it anyways. And by the way, you can't really block the internet. There's stuff all over the internet. So I don't think, and magazines and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't really think that making it illegal would really help anything. What does in private bedroom between two sexual adults? Yeah, I agree. No one can naturally feel homosexual. Yeah, I agree. Strongly agree. Because I've read so many studies that prove that's incorrect, and when I read the Bible, it feels like that's incorrect. Because I feel like if you were to never plant the idea in a child's head that homosexuality exists, and you were to let them live their life, they'd be heterosexual. They'd be heterosexual. The only reason why people are homosexual is because we are rebellious people, and when someone says that something's wrong, we want to rebel against that. That's what I feel. Like, I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. I just strongly agree that no one can feel naturally homosexual. Also, homosexuality can also come from personal experiences too. These days, about openness about sex has gone too far. I agree, because you should not be open about sex at all. All right, where do I stand? All right, where am I at? All right, this just explains everything. Let me go here. Where am I at? Oh, look at that! I'm right libertarian. Awesome. All right, that's cool. All right, so this graph right here, though, I really don't like it. I really don't like it. And because like I'm on the same line as Milton Friedman or Free, however you say that. But like Hitler and Stalin are on like I just and Hitler and Margaret Thatcher they're not alike. So why are they in the same category? Like I feel like Gandhi exists. Like Gandhi should be there. Yeah, Stalin. I think Hitler's fine there, but Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher, I don't think she belongs there, in my opinion at least. And Milton Friedman, he's fine where he's at. That makes sense. Let's see where I'm at real quick. I'm fine with where I'm at. I'm fine with where I'm at. And then they have a political cartoon on here. Yeah, so this was the political test. If you guys want to try it out yourself, look up Political Compass and take the test yourself, and let me know what your stats are. So, hope you guys please subscribe for more. I'm out. Peace. Vote Trump 2020.